All right, fam. Vegas Eagles is back, playoff edition. We're post wild card weekend. I didn't get a chance to give you guys my predictions for round one, so I wanted to be honest and tell you what they were and then see how they played out. All right. So we're getting ready. We're basically as healthy as we could dream of being. Lane Johnson seems to be okay. Our only person out is going to be Avante Maddox. Let's get ready for this dance, fam. All right. So we clinched the one seed with an ugly win over the Giants. But that was the most important thing. That's the goal. Every August going into the season, you just want to stay healthy and get the one seed, and we did it. So we got the bye, and round one we had Seattle at San Francisco. It was close for longer than I thought it would be. Um, but the Niners eventually pull away. Although the score was not indicative of how close that game was. If Seattle doesn't turn that ball over deep in San Fran territory, they were going in to take a 24-23 lead. So San Fran probably wins anyway, but the longer that game stayed close, the more skittish San Fran may have gotten. But they pull away and they get the W. All right, so then the six seed Giants, they went to Minnesota. This was the game that so many people predicted for the upset. I actually went the other way. I thought Minnesota was going to hang on and get the W, being they were home. But Giants showed me something. Daniel Jones actually played a really good game, and they pulled the upset that many people thought was going to happen. So I was wrong there, and it's the Giants who advance. Now the Monday nighter, it was a toss up for me. Dallas ends up blowing them out. I picked Tampa, but it was a weak pick. I didn't really think very much of Tampa. I just thought Dallas was on the way out. But Dallas looked impressive against a team that's just not that good, but they took care of business and they did what they were supposed to do. They kind of looked like the Cowboys in that game they played at Minnesota where they blew the doors off Minnesota. But Tampa, obviously, not nearly as good as Minnesota was. Uh, but solid win for Dallas, so they get the W. All right. So because of that, and because of the reseeding, we don't get Minnesota at San Francisco. Instead, we get the Dallas Cowboys. And then instead of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, we get the lowest remaining seed. So instead of getting Tampa or Dallas in round two, we get the Giants. Okay. So now obviously, the matchup is not what I had anticipated it would be in round two for the Eagles, but still, this is the second best outcome that could have happened. I mean, if our choices were Seattle, the Giants, Tampa, or Dallas, that's who we were going to face in round two. Obviously, Seattle probably would have been a perfect world, but it was a pipe dream that they were going to go to San Fran and win. And you don't really want Dallas because they have a high ceiling, and Tampa you don't want because they have Tom Brady. So this was the second best possible outcome. We then avoid Dallas and they go to San Francisco, and we get the Giants. And listen, I know they're division rivals, and which makes me think the game could be a little closer than what people might think. The line's 7.5. But I think maybe it's close for a while. Maybe it's kind of close at halftime. But I think in the end, the Eagles pull away. And I like this 31-16, something like that this weekend. Um, and I'll be flying back, so look for me on TV. Um, but I'd like to talk more about because again, if we can't beat the Giants at home, we don't deserve to go to the Super Bowl. We're the number one seed. We're coming off a bye. We've swept this team, and I know the second game was a weird game that we weren't really, it was more vanilla for us, and they rested their starters because the game didn't mean anything to the Giants. But don't forget, we went to New York a few weeks earlier, full strength and totally trying, and we blew the doors off them in their house. So I have no reason to believe that the Giants are coming into Philadelphia and really this game should not go down to the wire. Maybe you win by 10 to 14 points, so it's not a blowout, but it should not be last possession affecting the outcome of the game. At least in my mind, it should not be. So let's move to this one, though, because this is the interesting one that a lot of people are talking about Dallas and San Francisco. I think the line from what I saw is four, San Francisco by four. Um, I think some Dallas money's going to come in there because, again, the Dallas is a high ceiling. But are they really going to go another road game in San Francisco, much tougher place to play than Tampa, and against a red hot Niners team? I think this game could be close, but I still like the 49ers like 28-20, 28-23, something like that. Gun to my head, I would take the Niners and I would lay the points. I think it's going to be close, but I think the Niners will have just enough to cover the spread. Um, and so again, that would set up what I had predicted in the first place, which is San Francisco at Philadelphia. And if it gets to that, we'll do a full, analysis of it. But I will make one mention. If Dallas pulls a monumental upset in San Francisco and we take care of business against the Giants, it sets up Cowboys at Eagles for the NFC Championship game. And I thought about this a little bit this week. If it's Cowboys at Eagles for the NFC Championship game, it's the biggest Eagles home game of my lifetime. And it's for sure the biggest Eagles home game since the 1980 NFC Championship game, also against the Cowboys at the Vet, which was in January 1981. So this would be 42 years. The biggest Eagles home game in 42 years if the Eagles and Cowboys meet in the NFC Championship game. And then I'm thinking before that, I know they won the title in 1960 in Philadelphia. This was before the Super Bowl being at a neutral site. But yeah, going back, I mean, this in my lifetime, it will be the biggest Eagles home game of my lifetime. And it would be a little nerve wracking, even though I know we're better than Dallas. But it would be really nerve wracking because losing to the Cowboys at home in the NFC Championship game would be, I don't even want to think about it. I may need to take a leave of absence from work starting on Monday if it's Eagles Dallas week. But I do think the Niners are going to pull that game out. I do. And so I think you're going to get 49ers and Eagles. Other things to make mention of for the weather concerns for this weekend, if weather's not going to be a factor, it's going to be high 30s at kickoff at night, so we don't have to worry about that. And then looking ahead for the NFC Championship game, it looks to be a little colder, but does not look like major weather concerns for the NFC Championship in Philadelphia either. And we'll see what happens with the AFC. We got Bengals, Bills, and then we got Jacksonville and Kansas City. We got Andy Reid against Doug Peterson. So we'll see what happens in all this, but we have a great setup. We really should take care of business against the Giants, and then we just wait to see if we get the Cowboys or the 49ers. I think we're better than both teams. I think we're going to the Super Bowl, which is what I said when we got the 1 seed. I don't think the Niners beat us in Philadelphia, and I don't think the Cowboys beat us in Philadelphia. So other than that, let's just hopefully we can keep Lane Johnson healthy. Maybe we get Avonte Maddox back for the NFC Championship game. So listen, it's starting to come together. It's starting to come in focus. I hope it's a wild atmosphere on Saturday night. I have no reason to believe it won't be. Putting it in prime time on a Saturday night, that's inviting chaos in Philadelphia, especially going against New York because you're going to get some New York fans coming down the turnpike. And we'll take it from there. So go Birds. Let's get ready for round 2 and the march to Phoenix. And fam, if we can get to Phoenix, let's just see what happens. I love our chances against Jacksonville, but they're probably not going to make it. And if it's Buffalo on the field, I think we match up well, and I think we can beat Buffalo. I'm just more worried about the intangible stuff with Buffalo because they're playing for Hamlin, and they're gonna have a home field advantage. That's the one team where I am worried about their fan base overrunning Phoenix and overrunning our fan base, which is nearly impossible to do. But I can see their whole fan base, the entire city of Buffalo, is coming to Phoenix if they make it. And if it's Cincinnati, I think Joe Burrow is somehow an underrated quarterback. I don't think people talk about him enough. So we'll see what happens if he makes it there. And plus, that would be 2 years in a row for Cincinnati. And if it's Kansas City, I guess they're the firepower. They're the scariest, I guess. But they've been playing. People haven't really been noticing. They've been winning, but they're not winning impressively away from Kansas City, and especially in the last month and a half. Their games have been tight. So we'll see. We'll see how things go. But I love our draw. I love the way things are materializing. So let's get this win over the G-Men. They've had a good season. They've had, Dable's been a great coach for them. But their time is over now. They're not on the Eagles level. So let's get this win. Again, final score, I'm calling 31-16 Birds. All right, fam. Let's get it. NFC Championship game next.